Hello again, welcome back to Gene Kiko's home studio. This time I'm going to do a review of a guitar pedal, the Gems 45 from TC Electronic. This is a digital amplifier meant to go straight into an interface or front of house, or it's a preamp that'll go straight into your amplifier in the front or in the effects loop. It was just released last week. I haven't seen many reviews on it, so I want to tell you why I got it, show you some of the features, and give you some sound examples. I want to walk you through the pedal, the controls and features, and some settings I think are usable. On the top panel, you have 6 knobs. The top 3 are volume. You have normal, high, which is treble channel, and level, which is overall output volume. Then you have bass, mid, and treble. And foot switches, you have boost and channel. You have a red and a green channel. The red being classic vintage JTM 45. And the green is the same, but with the addition of a master volume, which wasn't on the original amplifiers. And the boost will boost either channel. Also, if you push both buttons in simultaneously, it'll switch it to on-off mode. That gives you only one channel when you turn it on, the last channel before you switched it to on-off mode. Then on the top panel, you have 3 jacks. You have in, out, and DI. Pretty self-explanatory. The DI is the one that uses the Celestion hours. You only access them with the DI output jack. Then you have a presence knob, very important in original Marshalls, and pre and post switch. This puts the boost either pre or post output transformer. Pre giving you more crunch, and post giving you up to 4 dB of level bump. Then you have a USB jack, which is for firmware updates. I don't play a lot of other people's material on this channel, but when I think of a JTM 45, I definitely think of those early Who records like Can't Explain, so that's why I put that on there. I like to keep as analog of signal path as possible. I have some great old tube amps here, and I use them whenever I can. Most of the time I use them. But I'm a father of a 3-year-old little boy, and when he's asleep at night is a big time when I record. So I need a digital solution for that. And lately it's been the Tone King Imperial from Neural. I have several different plug-in amplifiers, but that one seems to me, to my ear, to sound the best. And I wanted to have some options. It's pretty CPU heavy. I have a lot of universal audio plugins, and it's way more CPU heavy than those even. And they're considered the best in the industry. So just to have another option, I wanted to get something, and I was pretty set on getting another universal audio product like the UA Dream or the Ruby. And then I saw this. I was just about ready to order one of those UA amps, and this came out, and I decided to try it. For one, they're the only company doing a dedicated Marshall pedal, amp sim pedal. The other one, like the Strymon Imperial, has a Marshall in there, but it's 3 different amplifiers you can choose from. As far as I can tell, this is the only dedicated Marshall circuit amp in a box pedal. So that was appealing to me. For me, having a studio is about having different flavors and options. And I have some great Fender stuff here, real Fender stuff, the Tone Kings based on a Fender. I have a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier Trimoverb from the mid-90s, and I have a 1967 Drip Edge Twin. So I have some great Fender tube amp flavors, and I always liked that Marshall sound. Every time I played through one, I liked it. And this definitely has that flavor, and I'm going to be using it a lot to track with. Now, a lot of times what I like to do is pan the digital stuff to one side and put analog stuff on the other side, or I'll even go back over and re-record. But the digital stuff does play a big part in my recording. Now I want to talk about some things that I found useful making music with the pedal, and also some things to think about if you're in the market for an amp sim pedal. First of all, the 3 new TC Electronic pedals aren't stereo. If you compare them to the Universal Audio pedals, which are stereo, this might be a benefit for some people. But personally, the way I track stereo guitars is to double track and pan them hard left and hard right. And if I don't do that, I usually play mono and get a stereo mix by adding a stereo effect in post, like a stereo delay. There's other ways to do it. You could go out of the DI and out of the regular line, out of the pedal, and add a impulse response in post or on your pedal board. Another thing to think about with this pedal is there's no reverb. That's how Marshalls were made. I'm used to having reverb in my amplifiers, my regular tube amplifiers, and so I miss it. But there's a lot of ways to negate this with a DAW if you're tracking in the studio. Every guitar track you heard on this video was done through a Lexicon 224. There's a lot of different settings in that plugin, and there's many plugins to choose from. You could also add reverb on your pedal board. You can find a way to make it work if you need reverb. I also wanted to mention, when I first got the pedal, I had a lot of trouble dialing in my tone. It seemed like no matter what I did, I couldn't keep the low end from getting muddy. I cut the lows, I cut the mids, boosted the treble, and I just couldn't get the sound I liked. Then I remembered the presence knob on the back, and I always heard these old Marshalls had a very active presence control. As soon as I boosted that presence on the back, boosted the treble on the front, put the mids about half, and cut the lows, it stopped getting muddy, and I got a really usable sound. Also, I prefer just the red or green channel with no boost. And then when I want to overdrive it, I use one of my pedals like the Prince of Tone or the Tim pedal. And I find that a much more usable sound than the boost on this pedal.